Okay, I think I'll call the meeting to order at 5:03. And we have myself, Edie Twining, MJ Dercio, Cheryl Poirier, Candace Fuchs, and we're missing Joe, John, and David. I know David is out of town. Sometimes Joe joins late, so we'll just get started then. I invited Rich Shriver again. I know he probably frustrated. He had some difficulty last time calling in, and it didn't work out. So I offered to fill him in on the meeting, and I really emphasized that we thought it was important since a lot of the issues we're working on are the same in the interest of the table. Would really like their opinion. So hopefully he'll join us again at some point. A couple of things to just as announcements. People probably saw the final events article that is submitted. Probably the only change from the original, the last and final draft was that I thought it would be important to add that the Planning Commission had identified some issues for the EDC to address in the 10-year POCD plan. I thought it was important to put that in the article. That is something that we should have on our agenda at some point to fulfill those whatever they identified for us to do. That was added. Let's see, what else did I want to report? We presented this forum idea. I have not had any response from any of the selectmen. So I don't know exactly where that's going. I did put out a note to interested parties to see if they had interest, and suggested that they provide input to the selectmen. The only one that really responded, here's John. Hey, John?
Yes.
Okay, we can put you on the good list. Affordable housing was very interested, and they're the only one I've heard from. So let me just, while we're on that topic, just review. I think there are three benefits, essential benefits to having a forum of basically the selectmen, all the boards and commissions, the Halls Road Committee, affordable housing, if that is not officially up and running as a commission, but they should be included, and the public. And I think there's three main benefits. One, as we've all talked about, that the boards and commissions act so independently at times, and a lot of us are certainly working on similar or the same issues, and there should be a vehicle where we can get together and collaborate on some of these important issues. So that would be certainly one benefit. I think the other benefit is that we want to kind of get the most out of our advanced CT work, and this would help facilitate that in finding other opportunities to implement their work. And then I think we also, there's some major issues facing the town that I think would be really good to have people in a room and collaborate on. And those could include, and I would think the selectman would be the one to really drive this and run the meeting. It's just our suggestion, but things like housing, what are we going to do with housing? what are we going to do in face of probably the economic impact from the pandemic? Because we have hints that from some of the work that BSC did and the pandemic that we could potentially lose a number of businesses in town, especially in the Halls Road neighborhood. So it'd be important to really look at that as a strategic issue. And then I think also, there's probably others, but the third one that jumps out at me would be that, we do this 10-year plan. And if you look at it, we have the same major issues that we did in the last 10-year plan. So, as a town, how do we move forward and make sure we don't go another 10 years and the same issues on the table? So those are kind of the big issue items. I think people suggest other ones, I'm sure. But I think, again, it's our suggestion, but really it's got to be driven by the selectmen and really run by the selectmen so that we encompass, everyone on the boards and commissions and are going in the same direction. So that's a long speech about that. And I'll let you comment in a minute on all of this in a second. But the other thing I wanted to just mention in connection with that was, we've had an opening on the EDC now going on for months. I was not pleased that it again got tabled by the Board of Selectmen. No one's conferred with me about the opening. We have some very good candidates. There are at least 3 people who have applied. All are probably excellent candidates, and I know a couple of willing to jump in and help out. And as you know, we have a full agenda, so we could use someone like that. And we have a couple of people with extensive economic development experience and expertise. So those things we can all definitely use. So it was a little frustrating. The country's appointed Supreme Court justices in less time than it's taking the Board of Selectmen to appoint, someone to the EDC. So
Don't go there.
The other thing I just wanted to mention, I've gotten a number of notes from people, and you've probably seen the articles in the Day, the Hartford Courant, MJ, John have sent me some things, Edie, all talking about, the affordable housing issue in Old Lyme and how Old Lyme is really, one of the few towns that have the degree of affordable housing, lack of affordable housing of any of the shoreline communities. So you've probably seen those, but I just wanted to mention that. So that's all I had as announcements. Anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of the stuff I just reported?
I had a question. In terms of the collaboration with the other boards and commissions,
Right.
Besides the big ones, which are Halls Road and affordable housing, what planning, are there any others that you feel need to, or do you think it should be all of them at least for an introduction?
Yeah, my idea was, I think this basic concept is coming out of the EDC as a suggestion, but to make this really work, the Board of Selectmen have to get on board, and there are probably other issues from other boards and selectmen we don't even know, and things that they're working on. So I think I was just trying to give an example of potential issues that are big,
Okay.
but I think we should recommend others. And the note I sent out to some of the people that I thought might be most interested in this, including both party chairs, suggested that they, go to the Board of Selectmen and make their suggestions on how best to make the forum, meaningful. And again, I think if we held a forum, it wouldn't have the same weight, and it wouldn't be probably as broad enough that we need it. So I think they need to make this work. I think they got to drive it and be on board.
So Howard, definitely to answer MJ's question, I think really more than anything, we need planning and zoning on this meeting because
Yeah.
they are so much more key than anything else we've
Right.
got going on in this town. So, I mean, we could certainly offer to get the meeting all set up so the selectmen don't have to do it. But what
Right.
you're asking is that the selectmen get behind it and ask their boards and commissions to join this meeting.
Right.
Right?
I think the EDC asked, it's not going to have the same weight. And you're right. There needs to be, a minimum, you need planning, you need zoning, you need Halls Road, you need affordable housing, you need EDC, you need the Board of Selectmen. And I'm just saying that's a base minimum. And I'm sure there are other boards and commissions that, all of them are welcome,
There's the
but
tree
should be in.
commission. There's
Yeah.
all sorts of the historic commission.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that should be part of it. I mean, the EDC did run the whole surveys and all of that, so I'm not sure why EDC can't run this themselves again. But I think we just need the backing of the selectmen to say yes.
Well, we need some feedback from them either way. If that's what they want us to do, if they don't think they have time or effort, we can set it up and suggest it to them.
Yep.
But I think, they need to, it's important for them to weigh in and put their authority behind it too. I think there'll be a lot broader participation from the boards and commission if they're, involved in the process.
What other committees are any of you on?
Pardon me?
What other committees are any of you on?
I'm on Halls Road.
I'm on Halls Road. I'm on the Old Lyme Historical Society, the Old Lyme Land Trust, various things.
Well, you should bounce these ideas off of them would be my suggestion. But I also, did anyone listen to the last affordable housing meeting? I listened to it and they've come to a consensus about what their recommendations, and they were going to send them over to the Board of Selectmen. I think that meeting was last week or the week before. So I think if you want to do it, you might want to initiate it because I think the Board of Selectmen would probably like to hear what the basic recommendations are coming out of these commissions first, so they can get a flavor for who they need to put pressure on and who they don't to attend. That's number one. I had another thought about something else. Oh, and I did meet with Tim, as you know, because I had to talk to him about another issue. And he does go to some meetings. For example, he went to a school board meeting the last go around. He tries to stay on top of stuff too. I don't know how many of them go to zoning, which is very important.
Right.
They don't come here. They don't go to affordable. I think they want us to go our way first. But
I know Mary Jo does go to zoning because I've gone with her.
Right. So then, maybe that's your route there, Candace, for us.
I think the selectmen are assigned to various commissions to cover, like Tim covers Halls Road. I think MJ has certain ones that she covers. I'm not sure what Chris covers. Also with affordable housing, that is a committee that is shutting down and a new commission is coming in. It was the resolution that was in place at the town meeting. So there'll be a new set of people to work with. Can I just ask our friends on the telephones if they could mute, or if perhaps one of the co-hosts can mute the call-in users, because there's a lot of feedback. Thank you.
Okay, well, we can discuss some of these as we go down the
Okay.
agenda items further. Just one other comment about when I suggested the housing issue as a potential topic, it was not also, it was both affordable and market priced housing. So, just as the advanced CT reports indicated, we don't have marketplace housing even for seniors looking to downsize, um, young people looking to move to town. So that's another part of the housing equation that if we had a topic on housing, I think it would be both affordable and market price. But let's move on. Uh, let's move on to approval of the minutes from January. Um, anyone have any questions, comments, additions? If someone make a motion to approve them?
So moved.
I'm sorry,
A second.
who made the motion?
Candace.
Candace.
Okay, Candace, thank you.
Howard, you've got a major echo going. Maybe you have two devices going.
I don't, I had this last time and I spent a few minutes with, I don't know what it is. My mic was not working at all. And Maureen got on and we got my mic going, but I'm still having this echo and I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's something with my computer and I don't know. Sorry. I don't know how to fix it. But okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, minutes are carried. Election. I was advised that we probably should have an election every year. And I am willing to continue as chair for a while. One of the benefits I've had of actually the COVID is it's given me more time to devote to things like that. I'm involved in a lot of organizations and different things, but many of them were put on hold with the virus. So I've actually spent more time and had more time to devote to the EDC. But once the virus is not as significant an issue as it is now, I'm hoping to do a bunch of other things, and I'm not going to probably. I'm going to evaluate, whether what I want to do at that point. So I just mentioned that, but I am willing to continue. I would really like to see, the issues and the projects we have on the table either come to fruition or be close to that on their way. So,
So Howard, do we make a motion to keep you as the chair, or is this something we vote for? How do we do this? Is it?
well, I think, yeah, I'm just saying what I'm going to do. I think the next thing I would call for, if anyone else is interested, they could, open it up nominations to everyone and we'll just vote.
I mean, I think having lost Justin and defaulted to just getting to it, that then trying to get all new people into this chairship. I mean, I think it'd be great if you keep the torch going and run it for us. And if anyone else has any thoughts or wants to be head here, let us know.
But my thoughts are that some reasoned consistency is a good idea, because there are other forces out there which are carrying out the economic development game on social engineering as a social engineering experiment rather than an economic development or engineering process. And I think that having a firm grip on our charter, that is economic development, keeping the town viable as a place to live, place to be afforded and affordable, consistent with whatever laws are required. I think it's important. I hope you follow that general idea.
I would just say this to it, and how I approached this job. I really I deplore that we have political parties at this local level. To me, it's just kind of silly that you can be for or against certain issues, but they're really not fit, a political ideology. And I, I when there's openings on the committee, the only thing I'm interested in is party's the last part of it. I don't care. I'm just really interested in who's going to come on the committee, add something, willing to work on these projects, what I'm interested in. So, I've tried to never mention party politics, or I've kept politics out of the committee altogether. I think, we have this economic development mission. We had the, coming out of the advanced CT work gave us a path to go down, and that's what we're trying to take those reports and turn them into something, results, so the town benefits from.
Great.
Right.
So can I make a motion to elect Howard to maintain in the chairmanship of the committee?
Seconded.
I would certainly agree at this point. I think Howard's done a good job trying to help us get our legs, even in the short time that I've been here. So, I think that we all need to just keep showing what we've got to demonstrate to the rest of the committee who's likely to step in if Howard chooses not to continue in his role. So I think that's a message, Howard, maybe you want to let the others know that their participation is important.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so shall we vote on that? Should we?
Howard, you're muted.
You're it, Howard. You're it.
Oh,
Still muted.
no.
He let go of the echo.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I just want to let you know that the inaugural ball is on Saturday, and it is formal. So
Okay.
just
On
make
Zoom.
sure, yeah, don't come in jeans, 'cause you're going to
Okay.
get turned away. All right. Thank you, guys. I don't know for what, but thank you. All right. Let's run down the agenda. And I think anything else on the forum? Any other?
There's one other thing, Howard, is I think we also all have to agree that we want to maintain this same time frame, Wednesday at 5.
Yeah, I think we
Monthly
took that
meeting.
up a little while ago and everyone agreed.
Okay, so
I
that's
think
already done. Okay.
MJ said she sometimes has a little trouble getting here, but I would try to start her 5 minutes after or so, but she'll join in. Everyone else agreed to this time, I believe. Unless anyone has any change, I wouldn't, go through that again. Okay. Anyone would like to at least help out by taking some notes for minutes? You don't even have to do full minutes, but my memory is not the best, and I have trouble writing and chewing gum at the same time, and looking at you guys. So if anyone would just take on just writing some notes.
This is being recorded as well?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
I volunteer John Stratton. He's the resident scribe.
Okay, just, and they don't have to be just something to trigger my mind.
There he goes, grabbing that pen.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we should, nothing further on the forum. We're waiting to hear back from the Board of Selectmen, and we'll see what direction either they would like to, how much participation, how much they want to be involved, and do they want to do this, or do they want to leave it to us to organize? Whatever they want to do, it's fine. Okay, business spotlight, MJ and Candace. I know both of you have been busy working on that, so if you want to report where we are, that would be great.
MJ and I met in person and we worked through some documents. We have a questionnaire as well as a welcome letter that we would send out to potential businesses that we would spotlight. We have sort of, we approached this project from two different perspectives, and right now the concept is to incorporate both perspectives. I was thinking of this as a vehicle to highlight small businesses that you might not otherwise know exist, and to drive local people to shop local at those particular businesses. And then MJ's perspective was to advertise more to the outside community that, quote, Old Lyme is open for business. And so that would involve highlighting some of our kind of rock star businesses that we all know about, like Bowerbird or the Old Lyme Inn, and illustrating to people outside of the town how we do have successful businesses in town. So both of those approaches are going to be incorporated. The next step we got to was how to socialize this spotlight and make it, to use an analogy, so our spotlight is not under a bushel basket, but shining so everybody can see it. And the first step in that was that Alwyn Logan gladly offered to highlight it in Limelight magazine, so that's good news. The town did offer to put it on the town website. I think MJ and I agree that that's not a particularly highly frequented area. And so the two of us felt pretty strongly that we'd like to get an opportunity to put it out on social media, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, something like that. I noted that there is a Facebook page which appears to be for Park and Rec. I was told that that is not the commission, it is the department. And that the town's policy is that no commission may have a Facebook page. And I will turn the floor over to MJ because she had a discussion with our first selectman on this topic, and I'd like you to hear from her firsthand.
So, I explained to Tim all the conversations we had had with Michelle and the goal of economic development and the importance of an online presence that was followed, that was meaningful, that could drive traffic and interest to economic development. As Candace said, we agreed that the town website did not satisfy that criteria. There is a Town of Old Lyme webpage, which I then went through the other day, and I went back months, and there's a lot of postings of weather and beautiful scenery. I would say there were 10 comments. Oh, isn't that pretty? There was nothing. There was no activity whatsoever. For sure, Michelle would say how many people look at it, but looking at it isn't enough to satisfy our desire to make our message loud and clear and give it the biggest reach possible. So Tim understood that. As old-fashioned as he may seem, he does get the importance of the online world and the paperless society that it's become. And he was going to go back and investigate why we have that policy and what harm could be done. Candace and I talked to Tim and said, suppose we highlighted the big Y just to name something, and somebody said, well, I don't like their asparagus prices. Well, what's the harm in that? At least people might not be shopping there. So he got it, and I have to circle back with him probably, I'd say Monday. He said, give me about a week. So I'll get back to him, but I was hopeful that we'd be able to have a Facebook page. And I thought afterwards that maybe it doesn't say Old Lyme Economic Development. Maybe it says Old Lyme, the place to do business or whatever. And that gets us around the technicality of whether or not we're a department and comments and all that stuff.
Well,
So I'm not like a dog on a meat truck. I'm not going to let it go yet.
So I just wanted to add that the Town of East Haddam Economic Development Commission does have a Facebook page. And the New York Times noted East Haddam, Connecticut as one of 52 places in the country as a desirable place to live. And do you think it had anything to do with the fact that they have social media?
Right.
You know,
Well, God bless her. It probably had a lot to do with Julia Balfour. But
No, I didn't.
but I think we should keep it. I think we should keep an eye out for some of the larger and less visible economic engines here, like our beach cottage community, like our marine services industry in Kellogg, which is quite large by any standards. And as you drive through the industrial park, north or south of the highway, you see there are quite a few places there you don't readily recognize. And I think these are important to bring up, not to attract, no offense to anyone, Walmart distribution centers, but that's a model for a major tax influx to the town and also jobs. I'm not selling Walmart, I'm talking about Kellogg and you might say targeted specialty industries. There's a lot going on over there, a lot of backhoes going, and that does not show up anywhere in town. Yet those owners made a decision to move here. And I think it's crucial.
John, to your point, we did add to our to-do list to take a visit over there. And we added a number of the companies, including Callaway Motors, to our list of businesses. So we have a robust list of businesses we would potentially highlight. We were going to start with the Bureau Sugar House. They were non-responsive to email or phone. So we've moved on, and we do have a candidate for our first spotlight. And so we're kind of poised to go, and we just need to find that podium that will allow our spotlight to shine.
You did get my Bureau Sugar House story I did some years ago.
I did get that. Thank you for that. I'm not sure that I certainly would want something more updated, and I would certainly want a response from them before we went forward with that.
Absolutely, it must have their response. What I'm saying is that it's family oriented and community oriented, but we could turn that a little bit to the economic home-based businesses, so to speak.
Ever since we started talking about them, everywhere I go, those popcorn bags, I bump into them. It's unbelievable. I even got a gift package from the Niantic old folks home, and that included popcorn. I mean, it's everywhere. So anyway, I digress.
So the real issue at hand is how to get this publicized to a wider range than, one little tiny thing. I mean, Limelight is great if you follow it. I do, but not everyone does. And the New London Day is another one that I I go to, but not everyone does. You know, I mean, it's going to take like 5 or 6 different platforms to make sure something gets seen, and I think that's really key to get this launched.
And that's the problem with today's media. You know, everyone has different channels that they're looking at. But what I like is this kind of one-two punch that MJ and Candace talked about, having a spotlight, say on line, but then also if you could have a social media presence, as MJ described it, and that allows you to have more frequent updates about things like Kellogg or other places that have something newsworthy or just kind of highlighting for people on a more ad hoc basis, then you could point people on the Facebook page or Instagram to Limelight when there is a special spotlight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good beginning, and then
Yeah.
you can grow it from there.
The social media, by the way, is free. And advertising on those sites is also practically free if you chose to do so. The benefit, as I see it, and I use it a lot, is the multiplier effect. So Cheryl, you could have, you could like us and share, and then your cousin in Iowa, let's say, might say, oh my gosh, I went to college with a guy who lives in Connecticut. He supplies widgets. Maybe he should be calling Kellogg or whatever. And that is my big picture, my big goal.
Great.
And we chose somebody as a good ambassador, guinea pig, easy to promote story to go out of the box with. And then, John, we hope to move through all the major categories, including agriculture and mining. You'd be surprised what we have here. And we'll share that list because we expect you to add to it for us.
Right. Well, we have on Mile Creek Road the home of a fairly prominent auto racing operation.
Yes, we do. And we've got Judd Farm. We can call that agriculture or wholesale. So there's a lot we have to offer.
Great work. Howard, you're
Hey,
muted.
Howard.
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Let me try something out for size. I think it's a good idea that you guys came up with, and we can start small with, as you indicated, businesses that we're trying to get the smaller ones to identify and then move on. So I think that's all good. Here, let me try this and see what you think about this. What I suggest would be if we could pick a company, get it going in March, that would be great. And what we do is we have a ceremony, 15 minutes, including Tim, Candace, and MJ, myself. I spent 5 minutes, open it 5 minutes at most, just saying that this is an EDC program, put it in the context of what the EDC is trying to do, no more than 5 minutes. Then probably you don't want both you and MJ and Candace both to speak, but maybe you take turns, one do one, the next to the other. And then you talk about the Spotlight program and what you put together and how it works and what you're trying to do with it. And then that's 5 minutes. And then Tim presents a Spotlight certificate, maybe a little gift, something to the business. And we have a photo op and call it a day. And then put it out as starting with whatever media we can start with, and then try to build on it as Edie and other people have suggested. How does that sound?
So you mean to launch it, a one-time thing, just to launch it, to make people aware of it?
Well, I would do that each time we do it, maybe. It's maybe
That
once
might
a month or once a quarter. I think it would get more press and give us a little bit of focus. That we spend, whatever, if you do it once a quarter or once a month or whatever, however it turns out, that we have that business there, we have that little ceremony, and we cover those 3 items, and and give them a present, and it's a photo op for everybody, and go from there.
So this would be
How
an
practical that would be.
in-person event.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howard, today's media world, you cannot get press to events like that as you could 10, 20 years ago. It just does not happen. So if you wanted something like that, you would have to videotape it. And then perhaps if we did have a social media, Instagram or Facebook page, you would put that video on your social media while that spotlight is running, let's say Limeline.
Okay.
I mean, you're just
Or you could have a live stream on your Facebook page or on your Instagram page.
Yeah.
So that would work because then you only need one person there. I just think that practically speaking, it would be very difficult to queue it up and have all the parties available.
Yeah.
Well,
We try to do it consistently and launch it on the first of the month or whatever, but to make it as elaborate, I don't know that I could do it.
Okay.
Yeah. And also like the Citizen of the Year award, that's a good example how they only do that once, and half the time those people don't even show up that are getting the award. So it's
Right.
it's hard
Right.
to do. It really is.
and subsequently, the news coverage is that big, or a couple of paragraphs, unless the day takes an interest in it and follows up and does a full-scale profile. But that's not quite a matter of chance, but chance has a lot to do with it. Space available and the newsiness of the individual.
I do like the idea of the business getting, the recognition of handing them something, and to me that has some appeal. And maybe the compromise is what Cheryl is doing. It's just we do it when we can do it, and we take a video of it and put it on the town website, and if we can get other coverage, fine. Does that sound all right, or do you want to abandon that idea?
Well, let's see. We're feeling it out as we go along, so we can try it. But I don't want to set something up and fail at it. I'd like to ease into it, make it more engaging and interesting. And by the way, I do think the day sat up and took notice of the New York Times article about, and including East Adam. So they have a very robust EDC over in New London too, by the way.
Right.
So maybe this will all sort of catch on if we make a presence.
But
I think the people here have pointed out that there's significant risk around planning a ceremony or in person or a gift. And I'm not sure there's a lot of upside to it. The risk is that the person doesn't show up, you have hard time scheduling it, or broadcasting your effort, and then what's the benefit? Because it's unlikely that it would be covered by media. So
I mean, the real benefit is if we can get something that's not a live presentation and just have a great little story about this business spotlight person and send it everywhere, so that it can get into all sorts of social media.
PR, right?
Yeah, it's. I don't think you need a live anything. I think you just need to really do a great job of talking about a great business and keep promoting that. I mean, maybe there's a photograph of something about the business, but nothing live.
But the thing is, it's an aggregate effort. It's not a one shot.
Right.
We're all going to wear a green ball gown and hope that Brett shows up. You got that image.
Yeah.
So
it's not a one-shot deal. You got to keep going.
So I guess we're kind of coming to the conclusion that we don't want to do a live thing. That's okay. So do you guys think that you could pick a company and get them on board, and we could get this in another month? Would that do it sometime in March? Can you You think you're that close?
That was our
So-
target, wasn't it?
So that's our target, and it depends on what you're comfortable with in terms of launch. We have picked a company, and they are she is eager to play with us. So, I mean, technically speaking, we could do it tomorrow. The question is our, to go back to my stupid metaphor, is our light going to be under a bushel because we don't have a way to broadcast it? We could put it out on Limeline, we could put it out on the town website, but you know, I think one of the key pieces is whether we can secure permission to get on Facebook. You know, that would be great. And then I would think we would definitely be all guns ahead. You know, think we have to decide whether we're willing to go out of the blocks with moderate publicity, or whether we want to wait until we have really good publicity to go out.
I
Sure.
think we should wait for the Facebook option and just make sure that you can get that to happen. I think that's a very good point. You know, I mean, even just with Facebook, it's not going to be an end all be all, but at least it'll be something that more people might actually get a hold of.
You know, don't forget ricocheting off the chamber. Why, after we appear, there's no reason that the chamber couldn't invite the principals in this business to come and speak for 5 minutes at a chamber meeting, or maybe announce it.
Yeah.
Try to get a recoil, you know, a ricochet.
Are you a member of the
John,
chamber?
We do want to try to coordinate with the chamber, and that's a good idea to get them involved to help with the publicity too. Cheryl, I know you're good at media stuff. What do you think? Anything else we could do in the media side to spread this?
Well, first of all, I think the chamber isn't
Functioning.
operational right now.
Yeah.
Well, make it operational.
But hopefully they will be soon. I mean, you know, we're talking still much. So let's,
Right.
even if we miss them the first time out, they can catch up the second time.
Right. The other, just and another side point, when you were talking about the Facebook, in the event that you can't have your own Facebook presence, Michelle runs the Town of Old Lyme Facebook page, and she's willing to put things in there on your behalf. You just have to send them to her. So it's not the ideal solution, but as a backup, if that's how you need to go, she's always willing to work with you.
So she has extended that to us, and I think MJ did a pretty close examination of the town Facebook page and found that it was not frequented particularly frequently.
More importantly, it's not really achieving our goal of stretching our limbs out to others. Like we have we all buy local. We know that. I think the goal was to maybe have vendors and distributors take a look at these businesses, and they're not necessarily the people who go in and, you know, buy wrapping paper and pretty gifts from the Bowerbird.
I
Could be a
wonder,
vendor she's never seen at a trade show that might pick up on it.
I wonder if we could sort of do a workaround, and if we put it on the town Facebook, then like all of us go in there and share it to our personal pages and share it over to people of Old Lyme, and then we kind of go through the back door.
Yeah.
And the other thing you can do is talk to Rick Shriver or someone. Chamber of Commerce has a Facebook page. It has very few followers, but maybe
I can't find it.
Old Lyme Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Or visit Old Lyme.
Well, that's the website, and that is not active right
That's out. That's out of the picture.
Well,
We'll look at it because, by the way, Facebook is not our only platform. You know, I was thinking Pinterest, there are a number of community boards there that people could post to.
And you mentioned
thinking-
Instagram. That's really the biggie.
And I was thinking of LinkedIn. It is a business to business site. You know, you can post a wonderful story about economic development and then throw your business in
MJ, I think that's an excellent idea, using LinkedIn. I think that's
But
great.
all websites are off bounds until we get permission, and that's a problem.
Right. All social media, yes. But
Oh,
I think
Yes.
LinkedIn is a really good one if you are trying to link to that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
which is,
also, when we sent out the letter asking residents to support businesses during COVID, that actually had a pretty good distribution. That I think is similar to like the weekly selectmen's update. And that had a distribution, I forget, of, 800 people or something on that thing. I mean, it was a lot higher than I anticipated. So that's another avenue.
And was that distributed by email? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Michelle will do it. If we write it up, Michelle will distribute it to that to the subscribers of town information, whatever that's called.
Yep. Mhm.
Right.
All right, so
Right.
how do we wrap this up for now? Do you guys feel comfortable enough to get it up by March and try? Now, there is a danger. I think what I'm is going to MJ's point is we don't want to launch this and do it in such a way that doesn't reach enough people that the business doesn't feel they got anything out of it and it kind of peters out. So I think there's a critical level of publicity that you want so it looks like it's having an impact and is effective.
So this may compromise our goal of having it launched by March, but we could propose that come back to you at the next EDC meeting in the first week of March with our publicity plan.
Yeah.
And then as an EDC, we decide whether it's robust enough to pull the trigger or not. And then based on that decision, if we decide to go forward, we'll have it ready to go so we can be, out there, shortly after that early meeting. So we would technically miss the by March, but we would be in March.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's what we need. After this discussion, it just seems we got to massage this a little bit. And I think some other opportunities came out of this discussion and probably trigger some others. So unless anyone objects, let's go with that. Cheryl, you also sent me a note that you had in the middle of the night. Obviously, you have some problems, but we won't go into those. But in the middle of the night, you had an idea for the title of this. So why don't you put that out and see what they think?
which is very funny because I didn't expect you to bring it to the committee.
Your problem?
You're calling it Spotlight, and I thought we should call it Limelight. So, for what it's worth, that was my middle of the night thought.
Okay, so why don't you guys think about that? I think she has a good point that, spotlight is kind of business spotlight is kind of a somewhat used, kind of trite maybe. So maybe if you think her midnight dreams have
Well,
become reality, think
I
about
won't
that.
be offended if you choose not to use it.
Is that,
Think you could think-
is that limelight with an I or a Y?
With a Y, of course.
Cheryl, you may recall, or perhaps you don't, the illustrious predecessor for that idea, which was a quite successful small coffee bar restaurant at the west end of the shopping center. And many people recall it with great pleasure and missed it when it was gone, swept away by the big Y. So,
Well, it could reopen because the bank is going away.
Yeah.
well,
It could reopen.
it's needed.
Okay, let's leave it at that. You guys
Okay, we'll work on it.
you think about the title, and I think, as Candace indicated, that's a really good plan. Why don't you guys try to see if you could just massage what you've done, and we'll bring it to the March meeting and go from there. Okay, let's move on so we can get out of here, hopefully pretty soon. The home business support project, there was a potential partner
Just
of
missed
the,
the arts
pardon me,
economic subcommittees.
we're gonna get to that. Okay, I skipped over. Yeah, sorry. Cheryl. Is Cheryl
For
still?
the arts.
Yeah, you wanna,
I am on target with the timeline put out last month. I'm inviting potential members of the subcommittee, but I want to make a point that it is a public, government committee. So if you know of people who would be interested in being an active participant on the subcommittee, please send them to me. I'm still getting answers back. Again, we are looking at 3 key questions. How can the town and its businesses more fully take advantage of the visitors to the arts organizations in town? How can the EDC support arts organizations and artists reciting in the town? And then how do we build arts and culture into Old Lyme's overall quality of life, so that it will attract, in a way that will attract new residents and businesses? So I have several people already lined up, people from the arts organizations, as well as 2 people who sat in on our meeting last month, Maura Rowe and Sherry Cody, both of whom have good economic development experience. So I'm happy to have both of them on the committee. What I am also want some help on is identifying artists in town who see themselves as trying to do business as artists. Not necessarily the galleries in town, but perhaps someone is I don't know, selling some art. It doesn't have to be visual art, but I would really like to have, maybe they're a potter and trying to sell ceramics or something. So I'd really like to get at least 1 or 2 other artists on this committee, and I'm also reaching out to local retailers to be on the committee, and I'm just waiting for some answers back with the hope of having a first meeting in March.
Cheryl, how many people do you envision having on the committee?
I'm hoping for about 10.
Do they have to go through appointment as,
I checked
Oh,
with
it's just a subcommittee.
I checked with the town hall, and they do not have to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The EDC can select them.
okay, if you sold a photo this past week, would that qualify you to be on the committee?
Say it again.
If you sold a photograph this week, would that qualify you to be on the committee?
As long as you're not.
You don't have to answer. Somebody needs to mute because we're getting a lot of feedback. Please mute if you're not talking. Thank you. Okay, great, Cheryl. I saw your note to people asking them, and it looks really good. Very exciting. I'd love to attend and observe anyway. I think it's great.
Okay,
Good job.
as I said, I'm reaching out to people that have either been referred to me or I know of, but I want a nice, diverse, active group who can help solve some of these, questions. So if you know of people, or if you yourself are interested, please get in touch with me.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm sorry
May I ask Cheryl a question? How are you dealing with the nonprofit segment of the arts community? Because it's not really how are you considering the nonprofit segment? The school, the 2 the museum, the association.
So, and MJ, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit, but what I can tell you is I already have a commitment from Lori Pavlos of the Lyme Art Association, Tammy Flynn of the Florence Griswold Museum, and someone at the Academy likely the incoming executive director, who will be named on Saturday. So they'll be part of this as well. I feel like they're an important part of that question of how do we take advantage of the traffic they bring to town? How do local small businesses, restaurants, gift stores, that sort of thing, how do they take advantage of the traffic coming to town? So I think they're an important part of the puzzle.
Okay, great. All right, jumping, sorry, Cheryl, I had skipped over you, but now going to the home business support project. We had a potential partner, at least willing to explore working with us, and that was the Academy. And they were in, when I did talk to Michael Duffy and, when he did make his presentation to EDC, they were in the initial stages of getting key people on board. So I think we'll wait till they do that. But the idea was potentially using their facilities in some way for businesses that were looking to have an office, have a studio, maybe some support services, et cetera. So it would be providing services for home-based businesses, and people in the arts and crafts. So my guess would be that their strategy, the Academy strategy, is geared toward obviously the arts, and they probably might be more open to, supporting businesses from the arts or crafts rather than extending it to other businesses. But that's, we just have to wait till they get their director on board, and then we can pursue that. So I don't want to spend any more time on it right now, but at least I wanted to tell you where that stood. The Soundview 156 improvement, we have that on the drawing board. I don't think at this moment, with all the other things we have going, we're ready to tackle that, and it's a pretty big project. So, and again, I envision that would be something suggested by the EDC, but not necessarily run by the EDC. It might have to be broader than the EDC, but let's table that for now. The business resource project, which we were looking to Advanced CT to assist on. It would be a combination of, they would provide a portion, we would provide the rest of it. I'm talking to them. We just received their final invoice for their project, and there's some questions on it. And, we're hoping not to use any additional new funding, but to use existing last year budget funds to for their portion of it. So that's up in the air at the moment, but I'm going to have a conversation then with next week. So there's potential that we may not have them as a resource to use on this project, and we'd have to go it alone. I've checked with some other people, and they've suggested potential other resources. The Southeast Chamber of Commerce is pretty strong, RiverCog, and there was a third one that someone suggested to me that might help us pull that together if they don't or not part of it. So that's where that stands. Candace, you brought up last time we had a discussion about what I'd called an activities guide. Do you care to add anything at the moment, or what's your current feeling about anything going forward with that? Or
So the concept was that I had and I'm deferring to Edie on this because she knows so much more about this than I do. But I had sort of acknowledged that the information about Old Lyme's outdoor spaces is very fractured, and it's available on a lot of different places, but there's no central repository. So I built a small access database and started to populate it with what I could find online and sent that over to Edie. And I don't know if she had time to look at it. I don't know if we have bandwidth to deal with this right now.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a project. Hopefully will end in another week or two, but I haven't done anything with it. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
No worries. I know we're all busy.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's have that as a continuing project. And go ahead, Cheryl, jump in.
Just, for Candace, I know for the land trust, Leah Hardy, and for open spaces, I think Greg Futoma, they're working together on a joint brochure for the two hiking, I guess, preserve and open spaces. That includes a joint map. So you might want to talk to them about what you're thinking, because they may have other plans for the future on further resources. So it might be a good idea to tie into them a little bit and see what they're doing.
I can definitely do that. I know Leah, and she knows her way around a database.
Yeah.
The chamber has produced at roughly 3-year intervals for the past 20 years a guidebook to business, but also including major town activities. It is not specifically a map, however. We proposed some map concepts some years ago, and the bike trails route was too dangerous, and the walking trails route didn't have enough sidewalk, so that evaporated. But that certainly is part of our charter. May I also add that I came up with a 1932 approved town description of where town boat launches were. And, also a 1960-ish motion on the part of the selectmen to allow our inns and motels to include in their stay, overnight stay package, a pass to the Old Lyme Town Beach. As outre as that may seem.
That's a big deal.
Wow. I'll bet if you told Park and Rec that, their hair would be on fire.
Well, their hair was on fire, and it was put out by saying, hey, wait a minute, we give these people who come to town and spend significant amounts of money nothing in terms of recreation. They have to go do it themselves. So anyway, just want to throw that out. I've got the documents duplicated. I can leave them at the town hall, wherever you like, Howard. So.
Okay, very good. So we'll continue. Thanks, Candace, for that. And we'll just keep putting it on the agenda. You can tell us where we are and if we need the committee's additional help, or we'll be happy to do that. Okay, moving along so we can wrap up by 6:30. Any other new business? Going once, twice, sold. Okay. Let's go other business, Halls Road, Edie.
I have nothing really to report. We're just moving on in phase 2 of the BSC's report. So I have nothing to bring to that.
The only thing I would just ask is if you feel it appropriate and okay with it, if you want to bring up the forum idea and see if the committee if Halls Road thinks that's a good idea, because obviously one of the topics we put as a suggested topic was what happens if we have a viability issue with Halls Road businesses coming out of the pandemic, and also the impact of, online, the impact on online retail is having on retail businesses. So we have those two forces coming together, and that could have an impact especially BSC kind of hinted a little bit about that. And we know the bank is not renewing their lease. So if Halls Road, you don't have to answer this right now, but if they think that's a good idea, it would be nice if they could weigh in on it.
You mean just to come to the forum?
No, to support the forum idea and suggest any Halls Road, you might want to refine the Halls Road topic. What, if you think that should be in the forum and how you should present that.
I'll take a look at that and
Yeah,
hopefully have
okay.
something to talk to the folks next week.
Okay, the POCD, there was a public hearing. I did have a couple of questions, not from an EDC point of view, my own personal point of view. I made those. I will note that as I said initially in the beginning of the meeting, that the Planning Commission has identified a couple of issues that the EDC should be working on that they've included in the POCD. So I think we will, once the POCD is adopted, look at those, add those to our agenda items to work on. And we should be, I think we have a responsibility if it's in the planning POCD, that we should try to address those issues that affect the EDC and they've identified that we should be working on. I think they're going to have a final vote on that. When is that, Edie? Do you know? Of POCD? Another hearing or something?
Yeah, I think they're planning to have another townwide WebEx meeting, and then I didn't get an actual date because he didn't tell me.
My issue, like I say, with the POCD is, if you look, they've done a good job revising it. They've taken input from different commissions, so I commend them for that. And I think they've meticulously gone through it. My issue with the thing is a lot of the same big issues from 10 years ago are still there. And the real issue is, how do you move these issues along so they're not there again in 10 years from now?
But that's not a fault of the POCD.
Right. No, it's not the POC, but exactly. It's not their responsibility, but we should be talking about it at the town government level of how we do implement the POCD, going forward. Okay, last thing on the agenda, but not the least, real estate. Has my house gone up, MJ, or not? I think you're muted. MJ?
It certainly has gone up, Howard, and you should let me list it.
Okay.
You want to fall off your chair? I'll give you a number right now.
All right.
All right. Starts with a 7.
Really?
Yes. Year over year, number of units sold year over year in 2020 to 2019, up 23%.
Wow.
The dollar volume is up 66%, and the median price is up 10%. The
Wow.
high end is selling exceptionally well. Everything priced in the middle that's priced right is going into multiple offers. And first-time home buyers are locked out. There's just no inventory.
Yeah.
So it doesn't show any signs of slowing down because there's no inventory, but people want to be here. They want to be out of crowded metropolitan areas. They are working remotely more and more. They want a lot of amenities. They want home offices. They want gyms. They want schooling spaces for remote learning or at-home schooling. That tends to suggest homes have to be larger. The biggest buying pool are millennials. They have a lot of disposable income, and the name of their game is condition, condition, condition. They won't even change a bathroom color. So Howard, I've been in your house. 700, over 700, and I'll list it tomorrow.
Well,
And then you can go off and work on all the things you want to work on.
all right. I have nowhere to live though, but
Oh, well, listen, that would be an easy problem to fix. Edie's going to let you rent from her.
all right. All right, anything else? Okay, I think it was a good meeting except for the election. Appreciate everyone's participation. Do we have a motion to adjourn at 6:18?
So moved.
So,
Okay,
second,
okay. Anyone opposed? No? Okay. Great. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Don't forget to turn off the recording, Howard.
Yep. Okay, I did. I did it.
All right, bye-bye.